Welcome back to the Concussion Protocol Podcast. I'm Chase. I'm here with Chance, and our host Connor has abandoned the podcast because he is so embarrassed about his team ASU getting thrashed by U of A this week.
He didn't talk to us for a long time, man.
He has slipped into a depressive episode, and we've only heard from him once, just him letting us know that he is breathing, he is alive. But inside, he's dead inside. And I understand it. I understand it fully. We're just thoughts and prayers to our host Connor on this one, but next man up, right? It's the rule of football here.
At least you still have Dillingham for now.
At least you still have Dillingham, yeah. You know, he seemed with how weird some of the coaching things are going on. Dillingham staying steady and saying he's staying is a really good sign, even with how the season ended. So
I'm saying that for now. There's a lot that can happen. I've seen some loyalty be questioned. So
yeah, you're I think you're a little bit twinged right now because of what BYU is doing to you right now.
Oh my gosh. By the way, it is Monday night. I have been through a day. I have no idea what's going on. Well, kind of an idea, but who knows really. It's been a day, Coug fans.
Yeah, we're hoping Kalani Sitake will make the right choice and stay at BYU, because why would you want to go to Penn State? They've shown they don't know what they're doing. They fired James Franklin probably a bit too early, and they probably would give more money, but BYU loves you, man. Stay there. You got it made. And this is coming from someone who is very happy that Lane Kiffin ditched Ole Miss and went to LSU. So, I've seen both sides of things. I could have understood it if Lane decided to stay, but I know who Lane is, and I knew he wasn't staying, man. I'm sorry.
No.
He wanted something bigger. He wants a championship, and it's possible at Ole Miss, but it's never been done before. You'd have to be a trailblazer. You'd have to make some upsets, and you'd have to do more with less, honestly. They just don't recruit as well as some of the other big teams. So they could at some point, maybe if you would have stayed, or maybe if they get a new coach and start getting some more money for these young kids to come in. But LSU is proven. They get a ton of money from the state and all of their boosters and everybody. That school is beloved in that state. So it's not shocking to me that he's there. I love that he's there, and I hate that he's there at the same time, because I'm worried he'll do the same thing to us in a few years. Totally reasonable. I could totally see it happening. I'm kind of go on.
What job is it that's like the step above LSU? Is there really one?
The two that I could say would be Alabama and Ohio State. So
I mean, yes, they
probably Georgia
guys,
just because of recency, but all time it's probably.
I feel like the top 5 schools all kind of have the same resources to pull from, almost. That it's just like it's not that big of a step. He's already made it. I feel like.
Yeah, but also at the same time, Alabama kind of like they definitely Nick Saban and them helped him resurge his career, but at the same time they also did not re-sign him. They chose not to re-sign him. They made that choice to not re-sign him, and he had to go to FAU. So they did kind of screw him at the same time. So does he feel like he wants to go back and win for them? Does he not? I don't know. But I'm kind of at this place where I want to see Bama fail, but I don't want to see him fail so bad that they fire DeBoer and then steal Kiffin from us, because we already lost Saban to him, and we saw how that went.
We know the 2 calls that Kiffin made to make that decision to LSU. It was Saban and God.
Yeah.
That brought him to LSU.
Yeah. So, and lots of DMs to his
Yeah. I don't know. I don't mind like the short term looking at it. LSU sucks at offense. Great at defense, right? I mean, next season, he's going to bring the offense. You best believe he's going to bring Lacey, Trinidad, all those guys. If you guys put together a line and then you keep your defense, man, that's a scary team. So short term, I like it. Long term, it's just what Kiffin you getting? How long you getting Kiffin?
Yeah.
Those are good questions. But I mean, it's exciting for you guys for sure.
Yeah.
At least for now.
Yeah, it's exciting. On paper, it's perfect. It's the best thing we could have gotten. Like, he was the best coach on the market. This is a win. But we got to see how it turns out. I mean, back a couple years ago, even though he was a terrible culture fit, Brian Kelly was a win back then. It looked like a win. He was one of the best on the market. It was very shocking at the time, to be honest. that we got him, and turned out to be very disappointing. Yes, we went to an SEC championship at 9-3, and then got thrashed by Georgia at one of the years that they won the championship. Got a Heisman and Jaden Daniels, but I don't know, man. It's hard to watch a team have that good of an offense and then the defense be atrocious and just get nothing from it, and then to flip to having
And do the opposite.
terrible.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that we did keep Blake Baker at defensive coordinator. So hopefully
Huge.
our defense stays stout. They need to get a little bit better on third downs. We can't survive just off of interceptions all the time, not in every game. But if we do have an offense that Lane Kiffin brings, I think we're going to have a lot more margin for error if we do have just a defense that can just make make turnovers happen. So I hope that they can get better at coverage as well, because literally they have that's their one weakness, is the third down efficiency, is they can't get off the field on even long downs. It'll be 3rd and 17. And it's super frustrating.
That is the most frustrating thing, is when you stop them on 1st and 2nd down, and then 3rd down, you let them do whatever.
Yeah.
I've seen it for many years. Trust me.
It's super frustrating. So, and we have good DBs. It's just, I don't know what happens, man. It's really frustrating. It's one of the most frustrating things you could see, is like, oh, we dominated them for 2 downs. Now it's easy, right? Nope. 1st down.
How many Week brothers do you get next year? Are you going to 2? One's leaving. You get 2.
West Weeks, he's graduating, so he's gone. Whit Weeks is still there. He's obviously got to nurse his ankle back to health. I guess they said he broke his ankle now. I don't know why they didn't share that back then, but yeah, he's been in the boot since the Ole Miss game. So I don't
remember that whole saga about, Ole Miss messing with LSU and Whit Weeks because they were dating. And all along, jokes on Ole Miss, Whit Weeks won.
Bro, this was all a ploy by the Kiffin family. Andrew Kiffin and Lane Kiffin, just poisoning Brian Kelly's chances, making Whit Weeks decide he was going to get injured, I guess. Oh, man.
And is his son going to transfer or going to stay? Because didn't he go on the record saying, I'm not going to play with my dad?
So, no, his son's in high school. Actually, I think he might be in 8th grade. He's young. He's still got a couple years before he's playing. But
okay.
Yeah, I believe he was talking about he wanted to play at LSU. I'm not sure if this changes that. So, but he did on record, and once again, he's young. He's got some years yet left before we even know if he's a good quarterback in high school. But he definitely showed interest in LSU. We'll see if he continues that now that his dad's there, because he did originally say, I don't want to play for my dad. But
yeah, I think we have to have caution sometimes on these hirings, because we're like, oh, this is a slam dunk, when things just happen,
Yeah.
Do we not remember that Lane Kiffin landed a job at USC and everybody's like, oh, slam dunk, and then he gets fired on the tarmac? Like, that can happen. I'd like to think that he's matured since then, and he's gotten better and everything. But I mean, sometimes you're a great coach or you're a great player, you end up in the wrong situation, and that's it. And I'm starting to wonder, like, Bryce Underwood, for example, is he okay? And what he's showing, is he just a freshman? Does he need to develop? Or is it like, hey, Michigan just literally can't have a QB? That's it. Like, even their best QB was masked by their running backs. Everybody thought he was good, but maybe he just wasn't. And his running backs were just really, really good.
And he is not looking good right now for the Vikings. So, I mean, to be fair, none of their quarterbacks are looking good right now, which is weird, because the Vikings quarterbacks were looking great the last couple of years.
Yeah.
And now they're just...
It's where you go to resurrect your career, right?
Yeah.
But there's like the Jets, where it's like, okay, man, you can't make that guy work or that guy work or that guy work. And then some of them leave, and then it's like, wait, Sam Darnold's not bad. He's actually good. It's like, there's just some places or some situations where it just doesn't work out. So I don't think that's the case with Lane Kiffin, but I hesitate to say anything's a slam dunk, because it really can be just situational.
Yeah.
But everything does point in the direction of this is a slam dunk. We'll see. Brian Kelly seemed like a slam dunk, but Lane Kiffin seems a little bit more culturally. He fits better.
He's a lot better, because he's coached in the SEC plenty of times before. Granted, he has burned some bridges at Tennessee and now Ole Miss, which this one wasn't entirely his fault. The scheduling is a whole thing that we don't need to get into right now, but that is the scheduling needs to be fixed. There's no reason that all these things need to get in the way. There's no reason people should be recruiting while other teams are still playing. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's a
That's the
mess.
main issue. The other issue is, do you think it's okay if a coach that is guaranteed leaving is finishing coaching your team in the playoffs? And I would say yes, because if your coach is leaving you, you're probably not going to do that great next season. Like, you're at least to that level. So if you lose some guys because they get poached, some of them are probably already going to get poached, as we're seeing with Ole Miss right now. They are hinting Trinidad is leaving. Lacey's probably going to go too. If you're worried,
He's already entered the portal.
yeah. James Franklin, he got fired weeks back. He's already flipped 4 Penn State commits. So people are going to get poached, whether they leave in a good way or a bad way. You might lose a couple more, but wouldn't you want to put it all on the line on this year to say, hey, we have a chance here? Because Ole Miss, they have a chance. Their defense needs to step up, but they have a chance. If they outscore the teams that they play, there you go. I mean, that's how any game is, but you know what I mean.
Yeah. I mean, I guess we'll see. I think that there's been some off seasons that have really just changed the culture of college football in general. This one's going to be the coaching carousel. I don't think we've ever seen a coaching carousel like this,
This dramatic.
where so many people need coaches and don't have them, or so much money's being thrown or has been thrown, that I think it changes the landscape of college football. I just don't know for better, for worse, or whatever. I personally would still love to see contracts that were scaled with winning and success, but
Yeah.
the market isn't saying that. The market's saying spend, spend, spend. So that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Which is weird, because you'd think it would change after so much money just went out the window. I mean, especially LSU. Hey, Brian Kelly won his case. They had to own the full amount, right? He got fired without cause. It's cause we hate you.
It's because we hate you. Yeah.
But I mean, I'm surprised that, and maybe it's because there's one prominent coach. You can't just put a ridiculous contract that's never been heard of before. I guess you have to throw all the money at him. But yeah, I don't know. I'd love to see it change a little bit to keep coach retention or try to build something, but that's not the reality, I guess.
Yeah. LSU is going to be paying a lot of money these next couple of years because they're paying Lane crazy. They're still paying Ogeron. They're still paying.
They might as well bring him back.
That's what hey, I'm really hoping they do pull Ogeron over for like D-line or something, because he's great for recruiting. That dude knows how to recruit, and people love playing for him. So if they could get him, if he would accept that, that would be amazing. If he ends up at Tulane, he ends up at Tulane or somewhere else. That's good. That's great for Ogeron as well. But I would love to see him back on the staff at LSU, because that dude just gets you pumped. That whole season, just at the end of every interview, go Tigers. I love the guy, man.
Didn't Kiffin say his first call is going to be to Orgeron?
Yeah. So the thing I sent you, he said he was driving in, and I think it was kind of like a passive aggressive dig at Brian Kelly as well. He's just like, I've been here for like 5 minutes. I'm channeling my Ed Ogeron here. I just want to yell, go Tigers at everybody. And in like like a Cajun way and shit. And I was like, yeah, that's a dig at Brian Kelly for what he did at that basketball game where he started talking like he's from the South or something. They're like, dude, what are you doing? So it kept cutting in and out.
Yeah, there was a lot of things Brian Kelly did where it was like, this guy he just doesn't belong with what he's doing. The whole dance with them spinning around with the recruit that went to Bama instead. Oh my gosh, there was a lot of things with Brian Kelly. Bless his heart.
Nah, I hate that guy. I hate that. But anyways, brighter future ahead, hopefully. All Lane's got to do is get us some hardware, and we don't care what happens afterwards.
Hey, dude can date whoever he wants to. However young legally he wants to, as long as he brings some hardware. Nope, we'll look the other way, right?
They probably will. I mean, I think Les Miles even got caught doing some sketchy stuff on his after he had left. They had reported stuff he had done or something, but not that I know where he is anymore. He's not coaching anymore, I don't think. But
dude, can I tell you? Well, I probably shouldn't say this on the podcast. Should I say it on the podcast?
Yeah, we could edit it out.
Let's just say this.
We could edit it out.
We can edit it out. Okay, yeah. Connor, up to you. You can edit this out or not. One of the most awkward things that I've been through with college football and knowing somebody is I've met Harsing, who used to coach at Boise State. Him and his wife seemed great. Didn't talk to him that much because he was just off in the background, right? This isn't a work situation. but I worked with his wife quite a bit, and she was lovely. Oh my gosh, like the sweetest gal. And he was like making a bunch of calls. So I was like, man, he's just recruiting, he's just working out, whatever, right? Then he gets poached to Auburn real fast after that. And then we learned about his mistress and stuff, and I was like, boy, that was really awkward.
Are
So
they still
there's stuff
together?
like that. I think they are.
Oh.
I don't know. I mean, he's not here anymore. I don't even know where he's coaching anymore, to be honest. But she was lovely. She was super pretty, super nice. Like I was like, dang, that's a great wife. And then he's, kind of along for the ride. Nobody likes furniture shopping, but he's there. He's present.
He exists there on his phone.
Yeah, but I don't know if he was recruiting or maybe hitting up his side piece.
Mm.
Well, I don't know.
That
Anyway, weird stuff happens to college football coaches, I
that would
guess.
take some gall to be talking on the phone with them, with your wife right there.
I mean, he was just chilling in the other room, sitting down, and let's just assume that he was recruiting. But yeah, it was awkward learning that after getting that relationship with them. It's like, oof, who keeps the bed in this situation?
Yeah. Crazy, man.
Anyway,
Well, we hope that these coaches start acting mature at least, but win a championship.
hey, in Lane Kiffin's defense, he's not married. He's not married anymore, right? He got separated.
No, I don't think so. No, yeah, he co-parents with his wife. That's why when they said that she and her son were visiting, basically to look at Baton Rouge and
Right.
stuff, and everyone was like, "But that's his ex-wife," and I was like, "Yeah, and they co-parent. That's not a good sign, Ole Miss, dude."
Right. But at least in his defense, he's free.
Yeah. So true. To with all his Instagram posts.
Right. By the way, this is the Concussion Protocol Podcast where we talk about football.
Yeah. And the drama that surrounds it, apparently.
They should make I'm sure they have like a football wife reality TV show. I'm sure there's got to be somewhere out there.
I've seen
one of
some
those.
shorts on like TikTok of this one guy that does he basically does like a gossip reel, sports related, but talks like it to his wife, like in a way that would like relate it to like a Real Housewives episode or something like that. It's like he basically be like, Auburn is this person and LSU is this person, and then just tell the drama that and it's actually pretty funny. I was like, that's actually genius. I love it. But
You know what would be a good one? Admittedly, or I don't know, good, but like one that would get a lot of attention is you do Bill Check and his wife do a reality show. Oh
yeah.
my gosh, that would be it. And they were gonna do one basically, behind the scenes at North Carolina before they flopped and decided to cut that thing.
Dude, they should just let her coach at this point. They probably get the same record.
I want to see the unedited version of that show that never came out. That would have been a hoot.
Absolutely. They need to leak that, and we just need to get the download.
Did you see the video of him sitting at the it was like was it like a volleyball tournament or it was like a modeling thing? I can't remember what it was, but he was just like sitting there in the corner and it might have been like a model shoot or a fashion way thing where he's just sitting in the corner with his jacket and she brought him there.
I'm here.
Super weird stuff, man.
Yeah, Belichick. Anyway, back to football.
We should talk about football now.
Yeah, football and what happened this week. Week 14 recap here. We had some interesting games this week. It's not as crazy surprising as other weeks, but to start out in the SEC on Friday, Texas ruins the Aggies' undefeated hopes and ruins their chances for their first SEC appearance. This would have been their first appearance. This was their one chance for this in the last, 14 years they've been in the SEC. They've never been to an SEC championship. And that trend continues because they couldn't get it done against a struggling Texas team that decided to finally play what their talent is equal to.
Yeah. I think it's a double-edged sword for Texas A&M because I hate when people are like, oh, they needed to lose. It's like, did you really?
No.
I don't think they necessarily needed to lose, but they needed to play a game that was real. They haven't played that since week 2 because they haven't been really playing these tough teams. So I don't agree with they needed to lose, but I think they needed to play some competition. So I'm glad Texas gave it to them because you don't want your next game of competition after 10, 12 weeks to be in the playoffs. You want to get something to get you going, to get you, adjusted to the tempo, the pace, the competition level, and everything. So that's the good part for the Aggies. The bad part is it's your rival. That sucks. The year you were supposed to be the team, the one, you didn't make it happen. That sucks. You didn't make the SEC championship game. How often are you going to be able to make that? I mean, you always recruit well. You never make it there. And this was the year. And then you're going to probably miss out on, I'm assuming, I could be wrong, I think they miss out on the bye
They're
week
not getting
now.
the bye. No.
Yeah. So it sucks in a lot of
They'll get
different
a
ways
home
for them.
game probably against probably a G5 team, but it's, you'd rather have the bye probably. I mean, you will sell more tickets and stuff, so that's good for that. And
Yeah.
it's very likely that they'll probably end up against like a James Madison or a Tulane or a North Texas maybe here, or maybe the
You
Virginia.
want the 5 or 6 spot for sure.
Yeah.
Maybe the 7, but for sure the 5 or 6 spot, you want to be there if you don't get the bye. There's going to be 2 weak teams that frankly, they don't deserve to be there, but they're going to be there because they're not ranked there. And it's probably going to be a G5 or 2 or Virginia. So one of those picks is going to be it, and it should be an easy win at home to get you momentum.
Depending on where they fall to, though, they get that home game, right? But they might end up against, depending on how these last games and how the seeding works. You could get Vandy in there, you could get BYU in there. Kyle Field is a great home field advantage, but those are teams that you don't want to see after you struggled so much against Texas. I'm sorry, that would not be a good thing. And imagine, plus, if BYU beats Texas Tech, and Texas Tech is one of those lower seed teams, you do not want
that is
Texas
worst
Tech.
case scenario.
You do not want Texas Tech even on the road there. With that defensive front, that defensive line, oh my God, dude, that would be terrible.
Yeah, you do not want Tech. And Tech is a possibility to fall down there.
Yeah.
That would be a nightmare.
That would be a nightmare.
Right now, they are ranked 7 in the AP poll. We don't have the next playoff poll till tomorrow. So we don't know. But they're 7. That's not a good spot.
No.
You want 5, 6, 7. You could get, I mean, right now you'd be looking at Notre Dame, BYU,
Miami
or Alabama.
Ugh.
Yeah, that's what you're looking at if you're 7. Those guys are better than Texas. Or wild, like the craziest scenario, you get Texas again.
Oh God.
That's
At least that would be at home, where you guys have a winning record against Texas at home. But man, I wouldn't want to play them again after they just had your number, dude. You guys,
well,
how this was the year to do it. I get it was on the road. You have a terrible record in Austin. I get that. It's an intimidating place to play. And you guys didn't get tested by a lot of teams, but you were tested on the road in week 2 against Notre Dame. If you can go into Bend and win there, how can you not win against this fumbling Texas team? You let them run on you. They ran the ball against them. Texas's running game has been atrocious all season, and they broke off 2 20-plus yard runs against this Texas A&M defense that has been great to this point. So, and then Arch ran all over him too. So it's a terrible time to choke to your rival like that, man. It hurts. I was cheering for the Aggies there. I wanted to see him win.
The answer I have for that, Chase, Arch looks freaking good.
Dude,
like that game, you and I both were like, geez, like if he played like that the whole season, he was the Heisman.
He would have beat Ohio
State.
He would have beat Ohio State if he played like that. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, he was amazing. And the incredible thing is, every time I was watching, I was like, oh man, the pocket's collapsing again. Geez, what is he gonna do? And every time he just like Houdini'd himself out and made a play with his legs or his arms, and it was incredible. If that guy had an offensive line and had a receiver that can actually catch a ball, dude, it would be game over.
Absolutely.
Yeah, he's incredible. That game, he was everything Texas wanted him to be and more. And he's been that for, I'd say, like 3/4 of the season. He just had a rough go at the beginning. But I hate to say it, if he sticks around, which I believe he will, next year, I mean, I think they could be for real if they put some pieces around him.
Yeah.
They should be motivated too.
I am not looking forward to that. We do play them next year. So,
Oh, yeah?
yeah, I'm hoping that our offense is better, but yeah.
Yeah, you're gonna need
He
it.
still he
Yeah.
still can make some mistakes, so hopefully we get him to obviously this is very much in the future, but hopefully we get him to turn the ball over or something, but he
Yeah.
I said this week in the group chat, and I've kind of hinted at it before. I was like, I was wrong, man. I was like, he definitely was looking bust worthy in the first couple weeks, just struggling against these Conference USA teams that are like 1-2 win teams right now in Conference USA. He was not doing great against those teams. And then he figured it out. He has been hitting like his throwing hasn't been super impressive, but he's hit some good throws. He makes the right decision when he needs to scramble. He keeps escaping sacks, and that was the thing that I thought was going to determine this game too. I thought Marcel Reed was going to be more elusive, and I thought he was going to escape the sacks more. And Arch proved me wrong. Arch absolutely outplayed Marcel, especially when you get to the end of that game and Marcel decided to turn back the clock and end the game with 2 drives with ending in picks.
Okay,
One
yeah,
your own.
I wanna talk about that really quick because the whole year for Texas A&M has been defined from Marcel Reed changing his ways. He wasn't scrambling as much, he wasn't playing hero ball, but he was protecting the ball, he was making the right play, and that was more than enough to win these games, right? And now all of a sudden it's like, okay, well, he's not scrambling like before. He does do a little bit, but I've seen him be more impressive in past years, and he's throwing his picks. That's a complete different team if Marcel Reed does that.
Mhm.
They can't rely on gimmick sacks. They can't rely on that defense holding up if he continually does that. And he's been doing that. It's been putting him in trouble. And finally, it was nails in the coffin. When they play these big teams, they can't afford turnovers like that. It seems like the game speeds up and he gets worried and he loses it. Is that a concern, or is that just this one game? Did he just mess up?
It's absolutely a concern because now that he did this in their biggest game of the year, outside like it's this game and Notre Dame. Like we thought that the LSU game was big because it was at Baton Rouge, but we've seen LSU flounder and their coach got fired. And you want to say that it was a real game because they still had their coach and everything, but their heart wasn't in it that whole second half. I don't know what happened to this team, but it's definitely a concern because I thought he had shaken this off, man. Last season, like even the LSU game last season, he torched us, but he torched us completely on his feet. It had nothing to do with him throwing the ball. It was just basically like he was a wildcat, just constantly dashing us up the middle because we didn't have the defense to stop him. This year, he did it again, but they just once he comes against a ranked team, and this is a team that they probably would have made unranked if they beat him. He fell apart, and this wasn't
Yeah.
even a playoff team until now. Maybe they got saved by this, but this was not a playoff Texas team. There was people in our comments saying, "I love this team, but this is not the year. Maybe next year." And that's totally reasonable because you don't lose to Florida the way you do and deserve this.
So we have to talk about it, Chase. Unfortunately, there's a bunch of people that are getting mad at the Ohio State game, and they're saying, "Well, maybe we shouldn't schedule these games because it doesn't matter because it puts us in a disadvantage." Here's my counter to that. Well, there's two. You lost to Florida. Everybody doesn't want to mention that. You lost to Florida. That's it. Period. You know. Two. What were your other out of conference games? Sam Houston,
UTEP.
UTEP, all these other nonsense games, you did play a good one. And I mean, it was a good game and you got hyped and you got to play in a playoff like game. That should be applauded. You shouldn't still feel bad about it. It's not the reason you're out. You take that Ohio State game out, your strength of schedule goes way down. Your strength of record goes way down. Your metrics go way down. It's all getting put up because of this thing. Nobody's looking at it that way. I get it. It's a tough thing. They would have had 2 losses and maybe been on the border, but they're 3 losses and on the border right now with the loss. So I personally don't think it's affecting things as much as they want to think it's affecting things. But that's just my opinion. You don't lose to Florida, and this is coming from, again, everybody's telling me, well, you just shouldn't lose a game. That's why you can't be in the playoffs when you lose one freaking game. Well, I'm going to tell the same thing to Texas. Don't lose to Florida. That's it.
Yep.
Don't lose to Florida,
B-
who didn't beat anybody else. They didn't beat anybody else but you.
BYU is getting the same boat, and they have 1 loss right now, so they're getting screwed twice as much as Texas is. So There's way too many
I
teams
mean,
with 2 losses right now for them to get in.
it's a crowded playoff for
Their
sure.
resume isn't even good too. Like their best win is Oklahoma. That's a good win. That's a solid win. You got destroyed by Georgia, annihilated.
But again, Oklahoma with no QB.
Yeah, Oklahoma with no QB, with a hole in his hand Mateer face playing against you. Congratulations, that's a good win. You embarrassed them and you really messed with them that game. But
And literally every other game they squeaked by. They should have lost so many other games.
It's not just that you lost to Florida, which is terrible by itself, and did screw Ole Miss last season. They lost to Florida. They didn't make it in. So you can't lose that
BYU
game.
gets penalized for almost losing games all the time, but Texas doesn't? Or
You lost to Florida is a 4-win because they beat Florida State this week.
Florida State.
They have 1 win in conference against Mississippi State and nothing after that. And you almost lost to Kentucky. You needed overtime for Kentucky. You needed a Kentucky that just got blown out 40-0 by Louisville. And you needed overtime to beat Mississippi State. Super entertaining watch, but you shouldn't have needed overtime for that. You know what other team needed overtime to beat Mississippi State? Tennessee. And look at Tennessee, how they look right now as they got embarrassed by Vandy, and we'll talk about that later. But you don't deserve it right now, Texas. It's not the Ohio State game. You could hypothetically say if you didn't play that, well, if the preseason poll didn't give you the benefit of the doubt and rank you at 1 and ranked you at 20 at the beginning of the season, you'd probably still be in the same spot you are even with the Ohio State game off your schedule. And if you scheduled it against Florida State or some other team, they might have embarrassed you too. You looked terrible in week 1. You might have lost to a UCLA. Maybe not UCLA because they had a terrible week 1 too. But you know what I mean. If you would have scheduled it against any decent Power 4 conference, if it would have been Illinois, might have beat you because you looked terrible in week 1. It's just where you were. It's not just that it was Ohio State. So don't be a crybaby.
It does
take it on the chin. You can come back next year. You got Arch. You'll probably have a better O-line.
Well, yeah. Here's the bright news for Texas because we're not gonna only rag on you. We'll talk some good about you. Next year, I'm scared. Chase. We will talk about this. They could put together a special season next year. And they got a lot better during the season. They had some ups and downs, but they kind of started pulling it towards the end. But you can't just look at the back half of the schedule. You play 12 games. You got to count them all. They've got to mean something. So, it's unfortunate for the fans.
I'm very curious
I get it, but
how they do next year because they will have to play A&M at Kyle Field next season. I think they have to play LSU in Baton Rouge. So
they have to play Ohio State at home.
And that's at home though. Finally, the Big Ten decides they're going to come down here. Other than Michigan. Michigan did come down here.
Well,
but
look at what that game could do for you if you win it too.
Yeah, you're gonna beat the either the runner up or the winner of the Big Ten from this season in week 1 of next season. So that's a good look. Unless they fall.
And then
apart.
Ohio State can't ride a 50th strength of schedule all the way number 1 to the end.
Yeah, they're with their second ranked game. It's like So I at the same time, I'm totally gonna bag on Ohio State for their weak schedule. That's just how it is, unfortunately. If you compare Texas to them, I get it, but at the same time, beat them or schedule them at home first. Make them come to you first. Because I don't know. At the beginning of this season, you had Auburn go on the road against Baylor. You had Texas go to Ohio State. You had Alabama go on the road to Florida State. LSU go on the road to Clemson. Why are you guys being nice? Why are you going to their house? Make them come to you first. Come on.
Well,
I definitely applaud.
Sometimes when that happens, they cancel their second game sometimes.
Yeah.
Learning experience with Notre Dame.
So that's why I say take it first. So, but anyway, I digress. Good job on the win, Texas. Your defense had the best game they've had of the season. They look great. And you better hope you get a good seed and play a G5 team or something, because otherwise it's looking kind of bleak. You do not want to end up against a Georgia and Alabama or Notre Dame again. So maybe Notre Dame actually makes the kick this time, makes the extra point.
Yeah, that would be a good rematch. I'm actually kind of, if Notre Dame does get in, which I don't think they should, but if they get in, that game would be fun.
It would be fun. It was fun when I watched it after the fact because I couldn't watch it because all the games that were scheduled at the time. But yeah, that would be a fun watch. All right, moving on. Georgia squeaks by Georgia Tech. What does this say about Georgia, Chance? What does this say?
I can't get a read on Georgia, to be honest. I've seen lots of little cracks, but I've also seen like a dominant team. Again, Texas, you got dominated by Georgia going back to Texas, right? So they've just got these highs and lows. It doesn't seem like Georgia teams have passed where it's like they're just consistently good. Like the ceiling on this team is championship, in my opinion. They could win the championship. The floor is you lose the championship game and then you get bounced the first round. I can see that happening because there are certainly cracks in this team. I don't know what to make of it. Like Georgia Tech's defense is awful. Awful. How did you only score that many points against them? I don't get it. And Stockton, he's shown like decent numbers through the year. I still don't trust that guy to be the one who goes and wins it for you. He can make some plays. He's great at game managing. He's a winner, but like game on the line, like it's his ball and he needs to go win it. I don't know if that's the guy. Just myself. So I'm surprised Georgia Tech was so close. Maybe Georgia Tech was just throwing the Hail Mary like, man, if we win this game, maybe we can make the playoffs because we're out. But it was at Georgia too, right? Or was it at Georgia Tech? No, it was at Georgia Tech. Huh? But didn't the stadium have a ton of Georgia fans there?
Yeah, it was at Georgia Tech.
But I swear I was watching it and there was tons of Georgia
There was a lot of
fans
Georgia
there.
fans there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't get it. There's something about this Georgia team that, again, I think the ceiling's up here, championship, but there's something that just doesn't click. That's not right for me.
Yeah, I felt the same way when I was watching that. I want to write it off as they had 3 big injuries on the offensive line, and if your offensive line isn't good, you're not going to protect your quarterback. Then you can't throw the ball. Then you have to depend on the run, and if you can't run the ball, you're not going to score a lot of points, right? So,
Yeah, that's fair.
but even honestly, even your backups should just embarrass Georgia Tech. Their defense is terrible. They're terrible. They were getting embarrassed by all of these teams in the ACC. Even when they were winning games, they were getting scored on like crazy. Clemson went down to the wire with them, and this was when their offense was struggling. They were terrible. So Georgia really should have blown this team out. I'm kind of concerned that they didn't. I want to write it off on the injuries and that it's a rival, and rivalries can change things. Like it gets weird, but you should have embarrassed them. And it's kind of sad that you only won by that much. But I'm hoping that you snap back into it. And
Big game this week.
unfortunately, Texas A&M did you a disservice and choked and let your favorite team, Bama, into the SEC championship. So you have to break your trance with that team now and beat them in a game that you've choked against them a million times. So can you do it?
So last year, Georgia beat Texas how many times?
Twice.
Twice. I wonder if this is the reverse, where Georgia gets dog walked by Alabama twice in the season.
To be fair, the season where Georgia won, they lost the SEC championship to Bama, and then they beat them in the Natty. So
that's fair.
Maybe I'm confusing it. One of the two things happened. Yeah, I think it was that one. I think it was that. But yeah, they rematched in the Natty, and it was a different story. So you guys have beaten this team before, and this is not the Bama of old. Nick Saban has not been here for years, guys. Kalen DeBoer is a good coach. He made that Washington team really special, and he's done some good things here. He's not as scary as Saban, guys. You can do it. You have Kirby Smart. And he's arguably the best coach in the conference right now, or in the nation right now. He's a great coach. Just push past this, man.
You gotta. I mean, if I'm Georgia, I'm putting all my chips in to this championship game too, because if you win, you've got the bye, and you need the bye, right? We just talked about that offensive line needs the bye, so you got to push all those chips in to get that extra rest. Otherwise, then I mean, I don't know if are they hosting a game if they have 2 losses after the championship game? Are they not? I don't know. I would like to think that they're hosting a game, but they're not hosting a G5 team. I don't think if they lose this game.
Yeah, that is
because I think you have to put Bama past them, right?
Yeah, you have to
beat that team twice. You can't lose twice to the same team and not be ahead.
So I guess the committee said something like they won't punish a team for losing in the if they're already seated in a successful spot, right? But that doesn't mean that if you're up here that you can't fall a couple spots and go into a bad, like a road game instead of a home game or a bye even. So
Yeah.
They'll still get punished.
You want spots 1 through 6, and if they lose, I'm not sure if they get 1 through 6.
Yeah.
But maybe.
Yeah, if you get 1 through 6, you either get a bye or you basically get
Basically
a
a
bye
bye.
because you're playing a G5 team or you're playing a Virginia. So, yeah. So, get it done. Get it done, Georgia. Break the
Yeah.
trend. You've beaten this team before. You went back-to-back natties. You've beaten this team before. Do it again. Break the trend. You don't want them to have this over your head, dude. Bama fans are annoying, and you do not want them having something like this over your head. Just do it. Use that anger. Channel it. Join the dark side. Use your hate. All right. Moving on to a not as important to the playoffs game, but could have been if a couple points switched. Oklahoma escaped.
Man, this game makes me so mad as a fan of my team.
As a fan of LSU, Chance was
honorary. I told you I was the biggest LSU fan, and now I'm done. Can't do it.
Chance was an honorary LSU Tiger this week, as he was praying for LSU to upset the Sooners so that BYU would have a clearer chance to the playoffs if they do end up losing to Tech again.
How do you cheer for that team?
It takes a lot of painkillers and alcohol. No, I'm kidding. It's that 2019 year really revitalized me, man. I gained extra lives. Like pretend it's like a Zelda game. I got extra heart containers from that year, and I've survived the pain of watching either bad defensive play, bad offensive play, because we seem to just like having one or the other the last few years. But in most of these years, we've had chances. There were years where Bama won the Natty that year, and we almost got them. We had them, and then the screen pass play in 2012. Like there was a lot of chances. Even what was it? I think 2021 we had Max Johnson at quarterback. And we went, I think we were on the road in Alabama. We almost won. We had a chance to win this game with Max Johnson, lefty, who ended up transferring to Texas A&M that next year. We had a chance. And every time we'd get this close, and it's just, it hurts. And I know you got a taste of that, but yeah, I warned them, LSU fans. This was not a place we wanted to be. If it was in Baton Rouge, we might have been able to pull it out. But the week before, we struggled against Western. I mean, we knew this team.
You barely beat them, yeah.
We gave up a stupid pick, not pick six, sorry, fumble recovery for a touchdown when we could have just run the clock out, but we wanted to get a touchdown for our running back for some reason. So the guy fumbles, he returns it for a touchdown, and now it's 13-10 instead of what it would have been 13-3. Not a good look. It's Western Kentucky, guys. What are we doing? But you see that, and you knew that they might do something to Oklahoma. Unfortunately, I said from the beginning, if LSU beats Oklahoma this week, it's because Oklahoma chokes. It's not because LSU just played out their ass.
That's a hilarious statement. Because that's Oklahoma's mantra.
Yeah.
Right? And you have to use that to win.
Yeah. Oklahoma should have been miles better than our team right there. That was very concerning as an OU fan to watch them struggle the way they did at home, because this is a proud program, and I get it. LSU is a proud program. We've had their number in the past, but this was a year to just embarrass us. I truly thought it might turn into a blowout. But for some reason, and I've seen this with him all year, even pre-injury, loves throwing interceptions, man. He threw 4 interceptions. You can't do that to this team. Like, LSU lives and dies by the turnover margin. That is their defense, is turnovers. You turn the ball over that many times to this team, and if Van Buren would have just ran that damn touchdown in the first quarter, he had a mile ahead of him. And he just does this stupid on the run throw and throws a pick following the pick that Harold Perkins got off a deflection and ran it back. And it's so unfortunate that I know this team so well, because and I know a lot of other LSU fans said the same thing, is the second they saw Harold Perkins get knocked out of bounds at like the 4, they're like, we're not scoring here. I thought we might get a field goal. I was like, we're not getting a touchdown now that they got knocked down. I was like, our run game's not good enough. I don't trust this quarterback. We're not scoring. And then he threw a pick the next play. That would have won. That would have won us the game.
And that's the difference.
It's terrible. But I'm glad you got to suffer with me, man. But I warned you. This was not the game. This was not the time it was going to happen for us, man. I would have loved to see it. I would have loved to see Frank get that win. That would have been really nice to have on his under his belt, because I love what he means to this program. He's awesome. But it wasn't going to happen, man. It wasn't going to happen. This O-line they're just in shambles right now. Their running game is non-existent. Aries made it a little bit more efficient, but not enough to be significant. The wide receivers have really underperformed this season. And then the defense, you've played amazing turnover margin wise and on a lot of plays. But I don't know, on third down, you guys just love to give up 3rd and 17 for some reason. It's 3rd and 17, 3rd and 23. There'll be some dumb holding call or a personal foul or you just blow the coverage. I don't know. They got to do better there. But for the most part, Blake Baker has really improved this defense, even without Whit Weeks in for the last couple weeks. So I'm proud to see that. But this was not the week for us. So unfortunately, good for you, Sooners. My dad is actually a Sooners fan. So if we would have beat them, I might have gotten some dirty looks for the rest of the week. We would have been playing for nothing and they were playing for something. So, but Sooner.
I got a question for you. If there's a team that has the biggest question marks around them going into the playoffs, what team would you name?
Biggest question mark.
Like, I don't know what this team is. Are they good? Are they bad? Like, how are they going to perform?
Well, it might be Ole Miss because they don't have a coach.
That's fair.
Yeah, it's probably going to be one of those lower tier teams that gets in. We'll see how these last plays go. But right now, I am concerned for Oklahoma because John Mateer loves to throw in picks. I'm concerned for Alabama because their run game is just not that good.
Yeah, I mean, there's question marks on quite a few teams.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's like 3 or 4 teams that seem like, hey, we don't see many cracks, right?
Mm-hmm.
But for me, the biggest question mark is Oklahoma. Still, we're 12 games in. How do I not know what this Oklahoma team is? I think I might have an idea, but because I think they're overrated. At this point, that's my opinion, is their offense their defense has carried them, but it can only carry you so far. If you turn over the ball like that against playoff teams, your defense can't carry you through that, in my opinion. But let's say that John Mateer gets some rest, and all of a sudden he's the John Mateer that we saw at the beginning of the season who was like, oh my gosh, this is the Heisman. This is crazy. The ceiling's, I mean, as Michael Jordan said, the ceiling is the roof, man. Like, they can go anywhere. So I don't know where to pit this Oklahoma team. I would be thrilled and terrified to have them in the first round all at the same time. Because you just don't know. But like, if they are what they have been the past couple weeks, very vulnerable, squeaking by, miracles, let's face it. I mean, maybe this is just my opinion. There's no way they should have beat that Alabama team. No way.
They shouldn't have beat Auburn either.
Had full business winning that game, right? But they won.
They did.
They won. They found a way. But there's no way you could continually find a way to win like that. They got to find something out and figure it out quick. And it's got to be Mateer, because I don't believe their run offense is going to come up with that. He's got to be Superman. And if he somehow finds his moxie again, yeah, I'm all in on this Oklahoma team. I was when he had that moxie. Yeah. But if he doesn't have that moxie, if he throws 4 picks a game like he has been, I think they're toast.
Absolutely.
I don't know, but we'll see.
Yeah, the bright side is they probably got the best defense in the college football playoffs right now. Their defense is amazing. They look amazing.
They're nasty.
They are nasty. But the
problem is their offense is the worst.
Their offense is probably the worst, yeah. You could make the argument that like James Madison's offense is probably better than theirs. So
that's
their running game is non-existent, and John Mateer has been playing like he's like his hand is just not aerodynamic. Like he's throwing in and just wrong guy.
Did Oklahoma and Vanderbilt play this season? I don't think they did, right? That would have been a game, and it could be still if they make the playoffs. That could be.
I would love to see Vandy in the playoffs. It would be unfortunate.
The worst defense of playoff teams versus the worst offense of playoff teams.
They were really fun to watch in that game. We'll get to in a bit. But anyways, moving ahead. We're making up for Connor by rambling. Alabama in the Iron Bowl, man. They squeaked that one out, huh?
They always do. It's freaking Alabama, man. Dude. They're going to find a way. Did you watch that Did you watch the whole thing? I don't know if
No,
you might. I
so
think you might have clicked
I
off a
saw
little
the way
early.
it was
Okay.
trending, and I was like, "This game's just gonna piss me off here." I know where this game is heading, and I know Auburn started pulling back, and I saw the scores. I was checking the scores. I was like, "Yeah, but being tied with them, I know where this is going,
Yeah.
man."
No, I definitely knew too, but I had to watch because that was the other game. But I really needed to go a different way. There was this play late, and it was like 4th and 1, and freaking Ty Simpson runs all over the field trying to get a first down. And of course, it's Bama. He finds a way to get a first down. I mean, he's running laterally and trying to find some little, pivot to get him in. And finally, he gets in. And I'm sure Alabama fans were just peeing their pants because game might have been over if he didn't get it. But of course, he found a way. Credit to him. Credit to Bama. They find ways to win these games, and that was one of them. There was a couple different ways. I mean, Auburn they were coming back. It looked like they could get it, and then I can't remember if it was a pick or it was a fumble. It was a fumble. Yeah. Anyway, sad way to see it. Auburn was resilient.
Yep.
They were all year. Just could never win one of those games. This would have been the game to do it. But
Unfortunately for Auburn, this was not your year with the refs. The refs hated you this year, man. They screwed you out of the Oklahoma game, 100%.
yeah,
There is no doubt in my mind. They absolutely screwed them out of the Oklahoma game. Georgia game, maybe, maybe not. It definitely affected some things, but would you guys have won? I don't know. You guys played Georgia really well, but I don't know. Questionable calls in that one. This game, there were some questionable calls, but you play them every year. To beat Bama,
it has to be part of the game plan that you're going to
you're
get
playing
screwed.
Bama and the 12th man, which are the Zebra Boys with their white and black striped shirts, man. They're gonna give them some calls. It's gonna happen. You gotta play past it. You gotta outperform them offensively, defensively, special teams. You can't just willy your way to beating Bama. I mean, and that's what Oklahoma did previously. Is they went on the road, they forced turnovers against a team that wasn't turning the ball over. They made sure. And Auburn didn't do that, unfortunately. They kept it classy. They kept it close. They didn't get embarrassed. They honestly probably embarrassed Alabama a little bit, making them look like that right before the playoffs. But if you want it, you gotta beat them by a lot. So
Bama, because that's the playoff team out of these two, right? You have some worries about them. I have some concerns about them. One of the concerning things in that game was if they didn't give up these big plays, it would have been a no contest. Probably what it should have been. But I don't get why or how they let it possible to let these, little missed tackle here and then he's in the end zone for 60 yards on like 2 or 3 plays. How does this keep happening to Bama? Is that a concern? Especially when you get more explosive offenses and players.
yeah, Auburn's offense is obviously not the most explosive offense we've seen. They've done a little bit better the last couple weeks. They had a high scoring game against Vandy. I attributed that mostly to that Vandy's defense is not it. But and then obviously against who they play, Chattanooga. I don't know. They played some FCS team. They scored 60 points on them. So they do know how to throw the ball. They unfortunately just didn't know that before they fired Hugh Freeze, I guess. And obviously the switch at quarterback helped.
Well, it's because they had Jackson
Yeah,
Arnold.
Jackson Arnold is. I said that at the beginning of the year. He's not gonna have these flashy throws. His longest distance throw or largest gain was like 34 yards on the year. I think of his career actually. I think that includes Oklahoma. He's not a deep threat. There's just nothing's happening for him. But they stepped it up a bit. It does concern me to see that for Bama, but maybe it's the attrition. Maybe it's just they played so many like close, good teams, and it's gotten to them. I mean, you could have argued it was getting to them in that South Carolina game that they almost choked away. They struggled against LSU too. You could argue that, but
Yeah,
I
but
think
like
it is concerning.
look at their last games though. It was this one. Yeah, what was it? Illinois or something?
Yeah, Eastern Illinois.
Eastern Illinois and then South Carolina, right? I wouldn't call those like big time games. Yes, they had the gauntlet, but since the gauntlet, man, they've had easy games and scraped by them.
I don't know.
I mean, the difference between them and Texas is they didn't lose the third game.
That's true. That is true.
It's almost the same team.
They found a way not to lose to a Florida type team.
Yeah, yeah. Well, they did lose to
They
Florida
lost to
State,
Florida
but
State,
we
but
don't talk about
they
that.
didn't lose in conference to a Florida type team. So
Yeah, we It's the SEC. We don't talk about the Florida State loss.
Oklahoma and Georgia were equivalents, and then why am I blanking? Who did Texas lose to? Why am I blanking?
So they got dog walked by
They
Georgia.
got destroyed by Georgia, and
Yep. Ohio State.
And why am I blanking on
Who's
this
their
team? It's been a long
Wow.
season.
Has been a long season. Florida.
Oh yeah, we literally just said it, dude. I don't know.
Yeah, we just said it.
The orb of confusion. Anyways, happens to the best of us. But yeah, there's definitely some concerns with this team, but we're going to see for both of these teams in the SEC championship, we're going to see who comes out on top and who has a lot of concerns out of this game. Because whoever comes out on top very likely gets a bye. Maybe Bama doesn't, but they're probably going to get it. And the other team is the one we're going to be concerned about. So we'll see.
Yeah,
but yeah, like I said in the previous episode, an unranked Auburn has not beat Alabama since 2003. And that was an unranked Alabama team. So this just wasn't going to happen, unfortunately. So maybe next year, guys. You guys got to, I know there's some disappointment hiring a G5 hire, but that dude was doing really good at USF. So he's, he might be special. He might be. We'll see. You guys, they recruit really well just for being Auburn. So we will see. They just need to get an offense. They've had the defense. They just need an offense. All right. We'll get through these few pretty quick because they're not as important, but Ole Miss wins the Egg Bowl, absolutely dismantles Mississippi State in Lane Kiffin's last game at Ole Miss. Man, this Egg Bowl has been one-sided for a long time now. It feels bad to see this for State fans, but at the same time, you might have a chance next year with how this team's going, with the trending of how many people are probably going to leave this Ole Miss team. So that's the upside for Mississippi State fans, but the downside is you got embarrassed. And it was in Mississippi State, wasn't it, right? It was on the road, right?
I can't remember. But the sad thing is, if you have a chance next year, it's not because you are the dominant team. Probably it's just because Ole Miss came down to earth.
Yeah, they crashed. I am curious, how do you think this team's going to do in the playoffs without their head coach, without a lot of their staff too? So they got a defensive coordinator as their head coach now, and he's not. Their defense hasn't been the selling point of this team. How do you feel this team's going to do?
I'm worried about them. Yeah. I mean, their offense is awesome, but their defense is pretty bad. We talked about Vanderbilt possibly having the worst defense. It's them and Ole Miss if they make the playoffs. So, I mean, you'd have to absolutely rock it on offense. No turnovers, no mistakes. And I don't, in a team that is missing a bunch of coaching staff, mistakes happen. So I don't trust it. I hope that they don't get dinged too much for not having their coaching staff. I know it's part of the contingency of the playoff committee to look at things like that. They've played a great season, a memorable one. I don't think that they should get knocked for it, even if their performance probably is going to be affected by it. But it's too bad. It's a really fun team to watch. But I mean, they've had some close calls too. And if against like Washington State, for example. Yep. Their second best win is Tulane. So, I mean, they're a little bit on the unproven side as well. So I worry at a big time team, you don't have that coaching staff. You don't have that defense. You make mistakes. It could go south pretty quick. But I mean, then again, maybe it enrages them. They've got nothing to lose, right? So just let it rip.
Absolutely. It would be an absolute disservice. And I get it. Florida State fans, I get it. You guys got robbed. You had your quarterback out. They robbed you at an undefeated ACC championship to put in Bama.
Yeah.
That was some Bama bias there, guys. That happened.
That
happened during the BCS.
Rights don't make
that happened during the BCS. It's happened during the playoffs.
Right.
Yeah, 2 wrongs don't make a right here, unfortunately. But 3 lefts make a right. But no,
that's true.
This would not be okay, especially because Ole Miss is ranked 6 or 7 right now. To drop them completely out, that would be ridiculous. I mean, Florida State, at least numbers wise, it made sense. It was they're not 4 now, they're 5. But to drop them from 6 to 13 would be, well, I guess it's 11 because of the 2 spots, but it'd be insane.
Yeah.
So that would be so wrong.
Yeah, there's 6 right now currently in the AP poll, which is what we have to go off of because we don't have the playoffs.
We will see tomorrow. Anyways, Vandy, we'll go through this one pretty quick, but just like they did through Tennessee's defense, Vandy just absolutely embarrassed Tennessee in Knoxville. Neyland Stadium is a proud fan base. And how do you let this happen? I know Tennessee isn't known for their defense, But you put up a fight against Georgia in the same stadium. You put up a fight against Oklahoma in the same stadium. And Vandy embarrassed you. You couldn't stop Pavia. You couldn't buy a vowel. You definitely couldn't buy a defense. What was that? That was terrible. You threw picks. You threw picks to a terrible Vandy defense. What are you doing?
Yeah.
I know that Aguilar is kind of known for that. He's been throwing picks, but like Vandy, dude, stop. That was amazing on Vandy's part. Pavia played amazing. Their whole team played amazing. That's an amazing win. And that I'm very curious. Do you think this is a changing of the guard for this rivalry? Do you think Vandy's going to be the big dog in Tennessee now? Or do you think Tennessee's going to get it together? Because Vandy's recruiting well.
There is a couple things on that I do have. First off, to answer your question, I had family in that game that was at that game. I do have it very loose inside at Vanderbilt. I think Diego Pavia wants it more than anybody. That dude wants the Heisman. If there's one dude that wants it, he probably won't get it, but he wants it more than anybody. Changing of the guard. Two things. One is I think Vanderbilt is changing the corner. I think they are caring about sports now in a very different way. If their head coach doesn't get poached, I think they're really trying to put some money into the program and effort that quite possibly there's been some smoke, and this is crazy coming from this about Josh, how do you say his last name? Heupel, right? Heupel to Penn State. And I think it came off of the rumor that there was a team that had a loyal coach that they were trying to poach. Turned out to be Kalani Sitake. I don't think Heupel would leave because he's so, into that team. But Penn State showed already that they're willing to do whatever it takes to get that guy because there's not a guy on the market. So they have to find one out of the market. Could Josh leave to go to Penn State? I don't see it, but if he did, that would ruin Tennessee.
Dude, that town would burn. That's a nice area too. I was there a couple years ago. It's a really nice area. It's a lot nicer than Nashville. I'm sorry, Vandy fans, but Knoxville is a lot nicer looking in that area of the stadium and everything. I've been near both stadiums. There's a significant difference. Yeah. It would be sad to see Tennessee's coach, another Tennessee coach, abandon ship in probably a lateral move. Like I wouldn't consider Penn State that much better of a job than Tennessee. USC, I probably wouldn't have said that either, but it's dog eat dog world, I guess. So it could happen.
Yeah, I mean, the hard part is like Tennessee, you had your highest of highs when you beat Bama, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the past couple of seasons, besides that Bama win, what have you done? This season, you won a bunch of games, not against anybody that's over 500. I mean, what do you have? It's a tough position. So, I mean, that's the only thing I'm looking at if I'm a head coach is like, or even the program, it's like, where are we heading? What are we doing? Because I'll tell you what, this was your cupcake year and you ruined it.
Yeah, that is true.
So if you didn't do it this year, well, you gotta get. I mean, and this year was supposed to be a rebuild. In their defense, they lost their QB. They put some other nice parts around. They've got some youth that they've got growing, so there could be something. But I mean, just the excitement going on at Vanderbilt, I could see a swing. I really could. Not a guarantee, but I could see a swing.
Man, good on Vandy, man. That was a fun watch for anyone that wasn't a Tennessee Volunteer fan, unfortunately. That was crazy. I would love
always that caveat.
I would love to see them in the playoffs. I would love to. I mean, Pavia has definitely earned a trip to New York at least. So
I would think
it's questionable who wins it. I don't think anybody's that standout this year compared to other years. I think everybody's kind of, in terms of previous years, kind of mediocre looking stats wise. But it could go to Mendoza, it could go to Sayan, it could go to Jeremiah Love, it could go to Pavia, it could go to a couple people. So we'll see. We'll see what happens there. And our last SEC game we'll be talking about, just real quickly, Florida, after getting embarrassed by Kentucky, you decided that you were going to dominate Florida State. Congratulations. Chomp, chomp. I love to see it, man. I picked you guys. I rode with you guys. I was the only one that picked this game. I picked Florida, and that's probably the only game I did good on outside of in our pick'em, unfortunately. So, but thanks, Gators, man. I appreciate you guys.
Yeah, we found out who was the worst of the state.
And you kept them out of bowl eligibility. That's got to feel good. If I'm going down, you're going down with me. Like, That's got to feel good. It's it sucks that the season ended the way it did, but you did that. So I think that's
Maybe Florida State kept on to Mike Norvell at game too early.
yeah, maybe, but
Because they looked bad.
yeah, maybe they should have signed Billy Napier.
Maybe.
Bring us their playbook. Obviously, they'd change it, but yeah. All right. Moving on to the Big Ten. We know the Big Ten is not nearly as exciting as some of the other conferences, but the game happened this week, guys. The game. And the game finally went the way Buckeyes fans wanted to see since before COVID. They hadn't won in, what was it, like over 2,000 days or some crazy number? Like, they finally found a way to beat Michigan, and they did it in the big house. Michigan, that was embarrassing. I'm sorry. I believed in you to do at least better than that. That was pathetic, though. But I do like to give this nod to Ohio State fans. I've been giving you a lot of jabs this season. We've all been giving you some jabs, but me in particular, I've been giving a lot of jabs. I just want to say congratulations, Ohio State, on your first ranked win in 12 weeks. You have 2 whole ranked wins this season. Congratulations, guys. But you're number 1 in the country, and you're going to play number 2 in the Big Ten championship. So that's exciting. That's exciting. Can't wait to see you guys choke. Anyway, what did you see from this game?
Chase, you can't give them anything positive, can you?
Nope.
It is against every fiber of your being to give them anything positive.
If their fans were more likable, I'd consider it. I was
Look,
at the beginning of this, I was actually a lot more nice about. I said I didn't have good experiences with Ohio State fans, but I wasn't basically denying them of anything they achieved. Like, they won a championship last year. They beat Texas at home, close one. I would have given them their flowers. But their fans, the ones that we keep hearing from, are the worst. They're the worst. I hate them. You guys suck. It's not even your team. I just hate those fans. They are obnoxious. You guys are the worst. It's not all of you. It's not all of you. So if you've never said anything and gone on if you haven't bookmarked a video and come back weeks later to talk shit because a random podcaster said, "Hey, I don't think your team's that special," that's called being really petty. That is Heisman levels of petty. I applaud you. Like, we appreciate you coming back, but wow, congratulations, man. I hope your team fails, but good on you if you get that magical season like some of our teams have had in the past. Good for you, man. Every fan base gets it at some point, right? Well, not every fan base.
Yeah, I've grown up around some Ohio State fans, so I get it. And it sucks when there's just a dominant team and they win over and over and over again, and they tell you about it and they remind you about it. But it's hard to deny. They're freaking good, Chase. I wish I could say otherwise. I really do. I don't enjoy Ohio State being good, but I think they're freaking good. I have to say it. I hope that there's some better teams. I hope Indiana can beat them. I think they can. But I mean, I called it last week. You guys were like, "Oh man," especially Connor, "they want it more. They're gonna win because they want it more." And I shut my mouth and I just laughed because they're so much more talented than Michigan. I don't care. I mean, and come on, you don't think Ohio State, who hasn't won the game since like 2016, that they don't want it? Of course they want it. They're sick and tired of hearing it from the whole country. It's the one thing that they can't do. They can win championships, but they can't win the game. They wanted that just as bad, if not more. And their talent level was just on a different level completely. They've got stars. They've got talent. Their coaching is pretty good. That's the one that hurts me to say the most, by the way.
Hey, to be fair, last season around this time, they were saying fire him. So they felt the same way last year.
Yeah. Yeah. He's done a pretty dang good job this year. I've got to admit. Yeah, I mean, there's something I like about the team, but everything to like about how they play football. They are definitely one of my top 4 teams that I don't want to see in the playoffs that definitely can win at all, because if there's any cracks that they've shown, it's very minimal. Granted, they haven't played good enough teams to show cracks, but they look good. And whether they win or lose the conference game, they should be the bye teams.
Lights out. Yep. They've been playing lights out.
They said, "Shut it up. Turn it off." Shut up.
They've been playing lights out, man. You got to give them their flowers in regards that the teams that they've had in front of them, they've dominated. They haven't shown any sort of like significant weakness. Granted, they've only played 2 ranked teams this season. I'm not counting Illinois. Illinois was fool's gold. Some of us actually thought that Illinois was going to be good, and they fell apart. So that doesn't count. I'm sorry.
Yeah, until that Indiana game.
Yeah, this was your second ranked win. It was a good win. It's on the road against the rival. Fantastic. The one thing I did say about this game, the reason that I believe Michigan had a chance is because they were the better
The rushing
rushing
yards.
team, and I was
-8 yards in the second half.
I was correct in saying that in the last what was it, 20 years, every game
24.
24 years, every one of these games has been decided by who rushes for the most yards, and Ohio State outrushed them. So, that
Which is
continues.
crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy.
You
wouldn't
out Michigan on your weakest part of your
You
game.
finally said we're not going to finesse. You did still. You still had some finesse plays. I mean, that's still who you guys are. But you guys absolutely overpowered them, and good on you. Congratulations, you finally got that chip off your shoulder, man. You got that. You got those leeches off of you, man. So good on you, Buckeyes fans. Indiana next week. We'll see. We'll see who's the top dog in the Big Ten.
Please, Indiana. Please, all you 3- and 2-star high school players, beat these guys.
They just want it more, Chance. They want it more.
They want it more.
Who-
Yes, their leadership.
Who's your? Anyway. All right. And the only other Big Ten game we're going to talk about is real quick, just Oregon over Oregon on the road against Washington. I don't know how you felt about this, Chance, but I felt like Oregon controlled this game the entire way. They definitely let up some big plays where Washington kept it a little bit classy. They almost came within striking distance of this Oregon team, but Oregon just controlled it. I think Oregon's defense is much better than Washington's. And I think their offense is a bit better too. I just don't think Washington had a chance in this game at any point.
How do you feel about Oregon moving forward?
So they've kind of been hitting their strides towards the end of the season. They dominated USC. They dominated this Washington team. While this Washington team has some questions, obviously they lost to Wisconsin a couple weeks ago, and that's not a good look. But they've looked better to the end of the season, so that is a good sign. But at the beginning,
did you watch USC UCLA?
Oh no, I didn't. I don't even know who won that game.
USC did, but
Okay.
UCLA kept it closer for too long. It's so hard with some of these Big Ten games where it's like, I don't know how legit USC is, and that's their calling card. Like their big calling card was Iowa to start out with. Iowa, right? Well, guess what? Iowa State beat them. It wasn't that. It's not that impressive. They're middle of the pack team. They're good, but it's not like that. Oh, that big win, right?
Mhm.
I don't know if USC is either, and Washington is in that. So like, they haven't beat a big dog, and that's my concern for them is when they get into that big game. Are they ready? They lost at home. I mean, Indiana's incredible, so I don't want to dog them too much for losing that game, but they lost it at home.
Yeah, and they really dominated that game too. The score didn't indicate that, but they were in control pretty much at home.
So how much have they improved since then? I don't have a gauge to tell. I don't know. They haven't played that team where I'm like, okay, yeah, Oregon's it. They're that team. I think they're worse than last year. And last year's team could have won a championship. They ran into Iowa State, couldn't beat them as many times as they needed to. But I don't think they're as good. So I don't know. They definitely can win the first round.
Mhm.
I don't know about the second round.
Yeah,
It's
just to keep it a little bit brief, just because we talked about the SEC a little too long. I feel the same way. The upside for Oregon this year is that Oregon, while they were winning and they looked really good last year, they weren't trending up at the end of the season. They had some questionable games. Like there was one against, I believe, like Nebraska or was it Wisconsin or something, where they kept them in it way too long. They ended up blowing them out, but they stayed in it really. And you were like, what's going on with this team? Obviously, earlier in the season, they struggled to put away Boise State, which ended up being a playoff team, but that's still a Mountain West team at home in Oregon. So, but right now they are trending up. I do think they have upset capability to upset a better team if they play on all cylinders. But can they do that? That's the thing. They have the potential, but they also have the potential to be a first-round exit, depending on who they play. So
yeah, they do.
But we'll see. The Ducks are I really like the Ducks. I wanted to, especially when they were in the Pac-12, I really wanted to see them succeed. and they always just found a way to choke away their chances, whether that be right at the end of the regular season in the Pac-12 championship game, or now they could, or the playoffs. Obviously, the BC national championship against Auburn, they just can't get it done. So I hope that at some point they do figure it out, but it's right now it's been a matter of when, not if, they're gonna lose. So.
Yeah.
But we'll see. Moving on to the Big 12, a lot more emotionally involved teams in this conference, but also just a lot more entertaining, in my opinion. But that's my opinion. Let's real quick, just real quick. Doesn't need to be talked about too much, but Texas Tech, man, dude, they have not skipped a beat against these lower tier teams. They've just been crushing them. Like West Virginia, they beat Houston a few weeks ago. West Virginia shows they have the capability to play upset. And
They beat Pitt.
Texas Tech, yeah, they beat Pitt. Texas Tech manhandled them, just destroyed them. It didn't even look fair. It looked like a pro team going against a JV high school team. Like it was. Oh,
So you want to get a stat?
let's
The
see.
worst loss that West Virginia has had since 1891. That's how bad it was.
They are.
Yeah.
Texas Tech is putting the pedal to the metal, man. They are put.
Dude, they're so good. People are overlooking this team, man.
Yeah,
They're so good.
as some other content creators have been saying, belt to ass. Like that was an embarrassment, West Virginia. And I wouldn't even take it that bad because this Texas Tech team just looks that good. I'm really hoping that they show some weakness this week, but not in that they're bad, but that BYU can compete with them. But we will see. And on that note, Chance, BYU, that was a slow first quarter, man. I don't know if you were feeling worried. I don't know if you were feeling really worried, because I was worried for a second. I was like, why is this UCF team up 14-0?
Well, Chase, you're obviously not a full throttle BYU fan, because if you're a BYU fan and you've watched basketball and football this year, you know BYU only shows up in the second half. I saw a tweet that was like, even BYU basketball thinks this is a bad first half for BYU football. That's saying something, because it drives me nuts. I don't know why. Maybe it's credit to their in-game adjustments. I don't know, but their game plans going in, or whatever it is, like, it's nonsense. I don't get it. And the coaching staff knows it. They've addressed it. They multiple people have said, we know we're trying, and it's just something's not clicking. Even the UCF coach, he was asked, he's like, so you guys went up 14-0. How the heck did that happen? And the UCF coach was like, yeah, if you watch the game and everything, like, they probably have more talent. They're probably a better team than us. We want to be like that, but they're better. And he's like, I don't know if they're like looking ahead, or like we just like caught them off guard, but like, hey, cool. We went up 14-0 quick. Like it doesn't make any sense. Listening to the coaching staff, they kind of attributed it to missing assignments, some pretty bad missing assignments, which is not what you want to hear at the end of the season, to be honest, because missing assignments can be big plays.
Yeah.
Get you down early. BYU, if you make the tie or the playoffs or conference game, you don't want to be down 14-0.
No.
And you're not a team built to be down 14-0 to those teams. At least BYU has enough experience that when they get down, they don't have to freak out. And kind of like we talked about Marcel Reed, right? He starts getting down, and granted, he had that incredible game where he came back, right, against, was it South Carolina? But he freaks out sometimes, and he throws some picks and whatnot. And Bear did that in the Tech game, but otherwise, he was down by a ton in the Arizona game. And guys showed poise, came back and won, and it turns out that was a really good win. So at least there's some experience going that way, but it's not the momentum that you really wanted going into the championship game. Again, I don't know how much they were looking forward to Tech. Now I worry that they're not even preparing for Tech with everything going on, but I wasn't worried. If we would have gone down more than 14-0, I probably would have been worried, but I just knew UCF isn't that team. So, and maybe that's what BYU thought as well, that they kind of played with their food. So they got past it. I mean, they after that, it became a really easy game. I don't think UCF scored for like 3 more quarters
Nope.
after that.
And you said,
They dominated.
yeah, you said BYU waits to the second half. They didn't wait till the second half. It was the second quarter. I
Yeah.
think it was the first quarter, actually. They picked it right after that ball got picked off. Even I was like, oh, that's game. I was like,
Was that the Philly special? Did you
Yeah.
see? I want to say it was Evan Johnson, number 0, that picked him off. If you watch the replay, he was on the complete other side of the field. That guy ran all the way across the field and read that. And it was like a Philly special play, right? Kind of.
the one in the first quarter?
Yeah.
Yeah. There was he caught it at like I think the 30-yard line at UCF's 30-yard line or something like that.
But it was a receiver throwing to his quarterback,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. Anyway, that was incredible by Evan Johnson. I don't know how he sniffed that out and ran
Mhm.
all the way across the field and picked it off, but that was beautiful. Yeah, I don't know. It's tough. I'm intrigued by this next game though, because the depth chart just came out and there was a lot of guys that weren't playing that are going to be playing this time. So I'm excited about that. And some weird decisions. I don't know if it's a decision like that or not, but some guys that won't lose their red shirts because it's the postseason are playing. So that's kind of cool too. So I don't know. You're gonna get finally a fully healthy BYU team this next week. We'll probably break it down next segment or next episode. But this game, I think it was just they made the championship game. They haven't done that. Maybe, you don't know how to not celebrate or be in that moment without going through that. And I think maybe that was part of it. Missed assignments, and then they were like, oh, wait, we got to win this game still. So, and then they easily blew it out. So you can't do that against Tech, but I don't expect them to. I think it was just one of those games where,
Yeah. Yep, you're
we'll be
certainly
fine.
right. You can't go down early to Tech. You probably have to be the first team to score against Tech. Yeah,
Can't
it was a little
muff a
it
punt.
was a little concerning, but once again, it wasn't even the end of the first quarter, and I could tell. I was like, and there goes the momentum back to BYU. This game's over. So that guy picked the ball off, and
Yeah.
after that, 31 unanswered points, and then you guys won 41-21. I think you gave up a touchdown after that. So that's you guys dominated from
In
that point.
like super garbage
Yeah.
time.
So after that,
it just it shows you the duality of BYU too, where it's like, what the heck? And then it's like, wait, we are good.
Mhm.
You always question if you're good or not with this team.
So yep, we're hoping that this team gets the nod regardless of what happens in this Big 12 championship.
I went on my rant before. I'm gonna throw at you just a couple more. 65 computer rankings rank them at number 7. The lowest that a one-loss team has been ranked going into conference championship week is 8. The very lowest, Chase, we're at 11.
Yeah, there's some disrespect, especially after this U of A win really turned into something right now. Like U of A's in the AP, they're 20, right? Arizona's a
Well,
good team,
yeah,
and you went on the road and you beat them. Like that's a good win. Utah was a great win.
here's the problem is like there's no, and I get why it would be hard to do this, but there's no retroactive like, oh, that win that we credited that team for wasn't that good and we launched them 5 spots, so now we got to take them back down. They don't do that. Or that win that didn't look that good, because honestly at the time that Arizona win, it didn't look good. It looked like, oh, you squeaked by a bad team, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh wait, you beat that team on the road. That's a good win. But you don't, nobody retroactively looks at that and bumps you up or down. It's just the game to game basis. So yeah, there's a lot of that on BYU's schedule, unfortunately, and a lot of like, bumping people way up for, a win over Tennessee when it's like, or Missouri this season where it's like, well, you're bumped up now, but can't bump you back down. Or your Oregon's beating Iowa, that was their big test,
Yeah.
right? And it's like, well,
And they almost failed it too. Would they win by 2?
and they almost failed it. Yeah. So it's a tough spot to be in. But I mean, I think most BYU fans, while they don't agree with it, they've come to the reality of we got to win. Win or go home, unfortunately. I don't think it's fair. I don't think it's right, but that's the reality of it. Win or go home.
You see,
Unless for some reason Bama gets blown out of the water and BYU doesn't.
so
That's the
they
only
said
case.
they wouldn't punish a team for that, but we'll see.
They lie.
But Bama, I could totally see them twisting their words to save Bama, though. The one thing I will say is I do think there is an opportunity that if they play Tech close, if they keep it within like 3, 4, I think a touchdown might be too much. They could get the nod, just like SMU did last year. I know SMU was like they had the better record technically in the ACC than Clemson, and they played it close to Clemson, and they both got in because of it. I know if that game had been decided by 7, they would have bounced SMU. They would have plugged in Alabama with their terrible record against a 6-6 Oklahoma and a 6-6 Vandy. So I think that BYU with 2 losses, being both to Tech, one now showing that they improved against a team that has been destroying everybody, I think that would look good enough, and they might get the nod. The question is, does another team mess that up with like a Vandy or someone else like that that takes that at-large bid? But it's the question of Vandy, Notre Dame, Miami. I think if you're putting in one or the other, Miami's got to go in over Notre Dame, but you could exclude them both and save yourself the flack you're going to get for that.
It's too late. Notre Dame's already in. They don't have to do a single
They
thing.
could hurt their record because they're not playing anybody. They played Stanford. That is, we'll get to that. We'll breeze over that. But real quick, like I said, Connor avoided this podcast this week because he just did not want to talk about this game, the Territorial Cup, guys. Man, I'm an ASU alum. I spent 4 years at this school, and I watched some really bad football teams. I watched my freshman year was their best. That was their best season they ever had until last year. That was with Taylor Kelly, and then Mike Bercovici came in when he got injured. They had a fantastic year. They beat Notre Dame at home. That was a top 10 matchup, I believe, between the two teams. Fantastic year to watch. I camped out for that game. We were camped out in these shitty tents, and everybody, there was a dry campus, but there wasn't a dry campus that day. I tell you what, there were some crazy fans that day, but man, it was a very different outcome this year. We got dominated by U of A, and I warned Connor. I warned him, and I said the it's in the air, man. U of A is turning on right now. They are looking better each week. And ASU, while they're looking okay, they got Jeff Sims at quarterback, man. U of A's defense is real, and Nick Fafita played great, and they were the better team by far. If this game was in Tucson, it would have been a blowout. I'm pretty convinced. So
there was a little stretch where ASU looked pretty good. If I remember right, it was like second quarter. The first quarter, I looked at it and I was like, oh my gosh, Arizona's like dominating this game. And yet the score is like 0-0, 3-0, 7-0. You know, it was still a close game, but Arizona was dominating it because they had some mental mistakes. And then ASU made some plays, but then on, it was all Arizona. I mean, they looked like the better team, and they are. That's the truth of it. So yeah, it's a shame that it took a little bit for Arizona to get there. They lost, in my opinion. You know, that Houston loss hurts them a little bit. Mm-hmm. If they would have found a way to win that, we could have been having some serious talks about this Arizona team because they're good. They've got everything. I mean, they've got a underappreciated, underutilized running team. Noah Fafita's look pretty good, and that secondary, man, they're awesome. They're really good. I mean, their whole defense is good, but especially that secondary, lights out. And yeah, Jeff Sims didn't stand a chance. That poor guy,
dude.
It was his legs or nothing. And you know what I don't understand? Why didn't Arizona State try to run the freaking ball?
That's arguably Arizona's weakness, is their rushing defense too. So I don't know why they wouldn't have. They have a pretty good rushing attack. Like but they just don't utilize it. Like honestly, if they would have continued doing that, that's in the Mississippi State game when they started running the ball, that's when they started coming back. You can't rely completely on the pass. That's not how that works.
Yeah. And it's so weird because like Raleigh Brown still had some plays, but it was like passing plays. They refused to give him the ball, just handing it off to him. I don't get it. I don't think it would have mattered. And maybe they saw something we didn't, but yeah, that was their chance to win it, and they didn't do that. I don't get it. Even the commentators put that as one of their keys to winning the game is running the ball.
Yep. It hurts to see, man, but here's the good sign, ASU fans. You still have Dillingham right now. If you guys keep him, you guys are going to recruit well. Hopefully you retain Levitt. I know she's looking at offers. You might lose him. You got a 4-star in the queue right now heading there. Don't think he's going to change his mind. I won't jinx it. I'm knocking, guys. I'm knocking. But
It's not real wood.
yeah, it's real, but that's the good sign, man. It's unfortunate you were in Tempe. It's sad to see, but you had Jeff Sims at quarterback, guys. I know he is in the ASU Hall of Fame now for his game against Iowa State, but I wanted to see Jeff succeed, but he's not that guy, man. It's unfortunate, man. I wish him well. He got us. He helped us get wins that we probably didn't deserve this season. So I want to applaud him for that because honestly, another guy probably wouldn't have got those wins at Iowa State or even Colorado. Like we were looking questionable for a bit, and he got us some wins that we very well could have not gotten. So I want to applaud him for that. But the writing was on the wall, guys. This was not our year. We can bounce back next year. Congratulations to the Wildcats. I don't like you guys, but I am proud of you guys for turning this program around because last season was terrible. And you did the same thing that ASU did the last season. As they had a terrible season, they looked like nobodies, and they won the Big 12, went to the playoffs. This season, you didn't do it as good as us, but
all right,
you turned it around. You made it look good, and you beat us. Congratulations, man.
Hey,
we'll see you
they're
next
probably
year.
going to end up in the Pop-Tarts Bowl instead of you guys. Just saying.
I've watched quite a few games of them. I don't hate them the same way that Connor does. He grew up just despising the Wildcats. I didn't grow up that way. I went to ASU, so that's where my distaste comes for Tucson, but I didn't grow up being like, they suck. But, I'm proud that an Arizona team actually looked pretty consistent this year. Good for you guys, man. You got it good. You got it good. Go win your bowl game. We'll see you next year when we kick your ass. Anyway. That's good for you guys. That's 3 of 4 games they've won in the last 4 years. So good on them. The question is, can ASU retain Dillingham and Levitt? Let's see.
I'll say one of 2. You can get one of 2. You're not going to get both.
Then I want Dillingham by far. The Levitt has been.
I think you're going to keep Dillingham. I don't think you keep Levitt.
Yeah, if you were picking between
for
the
him
two,
to declare that early, there's something fishy in there. And his bogus injuries, non-injuries.
There needs to be a documentary on this. There's some gossip here that is not being spilled. There is no way that it was just some injury that happened against Baylor. He looked fine against TCU and there's no way that this injury happened, and there was they're so hiding something. I know you were saying it too.
They're hiding something, and that's why he's leaving. I bet you.
I swear he got caught doing something he was not supposed to do, and whatever it was, maybe some Jake Retzlaff type stuff.
I think they let that slide at ASU. Just saying,
it might be, but his family might not, and they might not. So the media.
Well, I guess if you're talking about intercourse and not rape, I mean,
that's another thing. It depends what frat you're at in ASU, apparently, unfortunately. So, and my experience is if you were in Fiji, you did not have morals. So, but anyway, I hope he didn't do something crazy. But if he did, get out of here, man. Get out of here. He's inconsistent.
I don't know. I don't think he would have done anything crazy. I think there's something between him and the coaching staff. Some frustration, something trainers or something that just didn't gel. I don't think it was his personal life. I think Sam Levitt's a pretty good dude, maybe a little eccentric on the football field, but just because he's confident, right? I think there's some disconnect there, and maybe it's about hiding their injuries, playing through injuries, pushing certain limits. I think that's probably where it's at.
You could very well be right. Once again, we're in the dark, guys. We're all in the dark. They didn't share anything, so it just leaves up to our interpretation of things, man. So I've seen a lot of people that I thought were really good people, and then they go out and show me that they're not. So I that's why I'm just saying I hope it wasn't something like that. But I would much rather keep Dillingham, dude. He's done some stuff for this program, and Levitt has been inconsistent even when he was healthy. So we'll see. All right, Houston.
Should we speed run some of these?
Yeah, we'll speed run this. Real quick, Houston beats Baylor. Baylor, what the hell are you doing, guys? I'm so glad that nobody hot takes me on this, but I had Baylor going to the Big 12 championship this year.
Would you have accepted that hot take?
No, especially not after Connor took Kansas. I was like, yeah, if Connor's picking that, I'm not going to say I'm that much smarter. But Baylor looked good. They had all the pieces. They had a senior quarterback, and that can be said about a lot of teams this year. But man, their defense is atrocious, dude. Real quick, they're not even bowl eligible because of this game. Houston really didn't need this game.
Yeah.
Baylor did. They were at Baylor. I thought Baylor's offense was going to carry them to this bowl eligibility. They didn't get it done. It was sad to see. They are the third worst FBS team in Texas this year. The only two teams in Texas in the FBS level that they outperformed were UTEP and Sam Houston.
Texas State.
Texas State outperformed them 6-6. They're bowl eligible. The other Texas Tech, did I say Tech? Texas State 6-6. UTSA 6-6. Houston obviously beat them. They're bowl eligible. North Texas could go to the playoffs. Choked the last game of the season, but they are still a much better team. TCU looking great towards the end of the season. Texas A&M playoff team, 1 loss. Texas Tech might be the strongest team in the conference, and Texas 9-3. Baylor, come on guys, do better. I want to see more from you guys. I do like this team. I like Dave Aranda. I hope that you guys can get your defense fixed and reload on offense because Sawyer is unfortunately a senior, so he's gone. So,
Well, I'm happy. I hope he does better. He needs to do better. He's absolutely on the hot seat, but I'm happy they're retaining Dave Aranda for now.
Yeah.
Because I think he can be a really good coach, but this was not a good season by any means by him.
Nope. Yeah, obviously you had some close ones, but you had some not so close ones too. And Dave Aranda, man, I still don't get it. It still baffles me. Dave Aranda was our defensive coordinator in 2019 when LSU won the championship. And I know that our defense wasn't our selling point. They were a pretty good defense. They weren't the best. They weren't top 25. They were like 30. But a lot of that came because Joe was scoring every 5 seconds, so the defense was on the field all the time. So that's going to happen.
Right.
So Dave has a good defensive mind. I'm baffled that this team can't get a decent defense. It's crazy to me.
Yeah, and their recruiting's decent too.
Yeah.
So I don't get it.
I expect more from you next year, Baylor, but this year was not it, man. Utah wins a close one against Kansas. They have really not.
It's kind of fallen off.
They have not sold themselves these last couple of games. Like for a team that just considered the second team out, you did not sell point this. You looked bad these last couple of weeks. Especially that Kansas State game, you gave up 400 rushing yards to a struggling Kansas State team.
When you should have lost that game.
Your anchor, you should have lost. Your anchor is your defense. Like your selling point is Utah defense, and you've just not looked that great these last couple games. So what is going on with you guys?
I don't know. I mean, it's tough when I bet you that the coaching staff's, trying to encourage them, hey, it's out of your hands, just show them or whatever. But in the back of their minds, they know, shoot, we're probably not making it. We're going to be the last ones out. That's deflating. That sucks. No reason not to play, but maybe it's getting to them. I don't know.
I wish they played like this against ASU. They look terrible. Sorry, not terrible. They look okay. They don't look like a playoff team right now. So they don't.
Right.
And one that kind of surprised some of us here, TCU destroyed Cincy.
Yeah.
They destroyed.
I don't get it.
That made no sense.
I watched TCU get blown out, just dog walked by BYU. And I watched Cincinnati play competitive football against BYU. What the heck happened? It just and my goodness, Cincinnati has fallen off a cliff.
Dude, they were ranked
3 in a row.
They were ranked. They were a playoff contender. They've lost 4 in a row. Back to back. Cincy, come on.
Yeah.
That's sad to see.
It is.
All right, we'll go through this real quick. The ACC or the ASS conference, terrible. Blow this conference up. Don't know what's going on. Miami crushes Pitt. I think we saw this coming. Pitt they do not have the defense that Miami does. They do not have the offensive line that Miami does. I think Pitt could have kept it a little bit closer, but Miami showed that they could blow this team out more than Notre Dame could. So why is Notre Dame ranked higher?
Miami is the opposite of Utah. They're like, dang, we're going to show you why we should be in.
Yeah.
Gosh darn it, if we're not going to make it, we're going to make you sorry that you didn't put us in. And I don't know. I think the committee's kind of considering and looking at it, but impressive win.
Yep. They have better wins against Pitt and against a couple other teams. The Syracuse one obviously leans in Notre Dame's favor, and they have the head-to-head, and still they're like Notre Dame better.
Yeah.
That is some brain bias,
sense.
dude. That is crazy. Louisville, what? You guys couldn't,
dude.
You guys choked your playoff chances, your championship chances, and then Kentucky comes into town and you said, let's take out our frustration on Big Blue Nation. This Big Blue Nation that just blew out Florida. This terrible. Mark Stoops got fired for this. And they were going to keep him because of how much money they have invested in this man.
Wait, they fired him? I didn't know that.
They fired him.
Because that was the most expensive contract.
So
I can't believe
they came to terms.
How did I miss that?
They approached him and they talked to him about basically making it that they don't have to pay it all at once, because I believe that the thing in his contract was like within 60 days or something. It's going to be spread out now because Mark Stoops basically was like, I want out of here too, man. But, dude, good for you, Kentucky, for getting that off your shoulder. That was unfortunate signing. He had a great couple seasons. I think 2 good seasons for you guys. Wow. Why did you even show up to this game? 40-0 against your rival, against an ACC rival that was choking the last couple weeks. They choked their chances away, and then they embarrassed you. They took their frustrations out on you, man. Like, it's embarrassing, man. It's sad to see. But good for you, Louisville. Good for you. Real quick, Boston College gets their 2nd win of the year, guys. 2nd win over Syracuse. Hey,
Castellanos was right. He left for greener pastures. He got 3 more wins.
Yeah, the grass is slightly greener, getting 5 wins and still not being bowl eligible. But, they blew out Syracuse, guys. Boston College blew out Syracuse. The Syracuse. That same Syracuse team that got blown out 70-7 last week by Notre Dame. Congrats. Looks like a great win for you guys, right, Notre Dame? As, once again, a 2-win team just beat the same team. Syracuse hasn't been the same since they lost their quarterback. It wasn't that special, guys, but it is what it is. Congratulations. Clemson.
This game should have been the big game.
This game was on my calendar at the beginning of the season. I thought it was going to be special. Both these teams were ranked in the top 10, I believe. I think South Carolina at like 9 and Clemson at, 4? Dude,
something like that, yeah.
Clemson squeaks into bowl eligibility. Some other teams didn't do that, like Florida State, so congrats to you on that. South Carolina, you guys were at home. You guys got embarrassed. That was sad. That was really sad to see. How did you compete with Bama and not this team? I get that Clemson's been improving, but are they improving that much? What are we doing? What do we expect from, do we expect Dabo to finally embrace the portal? Or do we think he's just gonna? Do we think he's just gonna continue his old man like kids these days and cane walk into the sunset of mediocrity?
I don't expect him to ever like fully embrace it, but little by little he opens up a tiny bit. You know what? I actually still like Dabo. I can't remember what game where they squeaked by and won. And you listen to the post conference, and the dude is just electric. You listen to him, and he's just so passionate. He loves his players. He wants to retain them and do. He has his way of doing it, which is not. It's not great for the format that college football is right now. But I don't know. I have a good place in my heart for him, so I hope he's successful and does better. But I think he opens up a little bit, maybe enough to do well. But he's got to turn that thing around next year, no doubt, or else he's in real big trouble.
I have a bit of bias here. I do like Dabo. I like him because he embarrassed Alabama in a championship. You gotta love him for that. And then, he brought success to a team that had only seen success one other time in their tenure. So he's a great coach, but he has not adapted to the times, and that's the question: is can he do that? So I do hope that they look better next year, because I want us to kick their ass and get that out of conference look when they come to the real Death Valley next season and play us. I hope we blow them out. But anyway, I do want to see them do good. I don't want to see them win a championship, but I do want to see them do good. Okay, Chance, let's hear it. Let's hear this bull.
Is it time?
Let's hear this.
Is it time? Oh, it's time. Yes. You guys, let me tell you, I'm going to talk to all of you right now. I'm going to look you straight in the eyes. You all in the comments call us idiots, that not everybody should do a podcast, that this and that. But guess what? I might be the only one in the country that predicted Duke would make the championship. I deserve my own class, my Kirby claps. Man, and guess what? I didn't say Duke was going to be good. I said they have the path to make it. And you all laughed at me. Ohio State fans think I'm an idiot. Well, who's the idiot now, huh?
Who's the idiot now? I bought a Duke shirt just for
Oh, my gosh.
Oh, my God.
If you told me at the beginning of the season this is how they would make it, I'd half be like laughing at you and be like, oh, my gosh. And half be like, well, maybe. I don't know. It's insane that they're in the championship game. I can't believe it. 2 weeks ago, they lost to UConn.
They have one.
Did they lose every out of
They
conference
have
game?
one win out of conference, and it was against Elon.
Oh, yeah, the Elon game. I definitely remember
They
that
lost in a blowout to Illinois. They lost to Tulane. They lost to UConn. And I'm missing one other one, but oh man.
They lost to Georgia Tech and to Virginia, which how are they in over those two teams? I have no idea. These tiebreakers are insane.
No. I'm so pissed. I'm so pissed that, dude, I don't sports bet. I am not a sports better. But when I saw that they still had a chance even after they lost those games, I was like, maybe I just throw $10 at this. You know, it's plus 10,000 odds for Duke to make this. And they did. Why didn't I just do it? It was $10. Who cares, right? Oh
my gosh. Yeah. I don't know if you understood or you ignored me on purpose. I'm leaning towards you ignored me on purpose, and that's okay. We kind of have this running joke, you know, Chance, you can't keep getting away with this with all your stupid hot takes, right? And they're playing SMU and Cal, and Cal starts pulling away, and I put in the Thanos meme of him putting in the final Infinity Stone and just
he put it in like he put that meme in there like moment. 3 times too. 3 times because he started wavering because SMU started coming back and he's like, "Oh no."
I did get a little worried. Yes, but I mean, yeah, I put that one in. I put in the old I am inevitable, you know, man. And nobody wanted to talk to me. Everybody kept their mouths shut. And then Connor, 2 days later, didn't realize that Duke was in the championship.
Connor never reads our messages. He never reads the. I had to text him directly to check to get his picks for this week because I was like, he's not going to answer if it's in the other chat.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Oh, but in all seriousness, who could have predicted that? That's crazy. Okay, more serious. Now that this is over, they made it. Everybody and their dog should be rooting against Duke right now. Because if they win, it's game over. College football is going to change forever. If they win and the ACC gets 0 representation in the playoffs, they're imploding. There's no doubt in my mind that conference is gone.
Good.
They're toast.
Good. I want them to win now.
But then you're going to get the 2 mega conferences if the ACC implodes.
No,
I guarantee you they're going to implode if Duke wins. And your G5s are never going to stand a chance. Your Big 12 is never going to get playoff spots. It's going to be a 2-team league. That's it.
No, super conferences are bad. There's too many people in the Big 10, too many people in the ACC and all the Power 4 conferences. Way too many teams. There needs to be a 5th conference.
Well,
I don't know why we abandoned the Pac-12. It's a joke, but
I'm telling you right now, everybody should be rooting for these guys to lose.
Even Duke,
because it's going to look real bad if they win.
If Virginia chokes that,
there's a chance. Yeah. I mean, Virginia did blow them out when they played earlier, but this Duke team, you never know, man. You never know what you're going to get. Nope. There's a chance that Duke beats them, and there's just no way that a Duke team makes the playoffs, right? I mean, they're toast.
Dude.
Yeah. They can't put them in over JMU and North Texas.
No, you cannot. You can't. That would be a joke. I'm sorry. They lost to UConn. They can't beat a Group of 5 school.
They beat Elon.
They beat.
Is Elon even a Group of 5
program? It's an FCS program.
That's true. They're like 0-2 or 0-3 against the G5.
They're not. I don't even think they're good in the FCS either. I think they're at like 3 wins or something. I'd have to check. But yeah, there's no way.
Yeah, this whole thing is a mess, man. And talk about like these weird, stupid tiebreakers. These guys in the Mountain West couldn't decide the night that all the games were over. The computers had to run analysis and tests and whatever and come up with it the day after. Yep. What's up with that?
It's a travesty. There needs to be some revisions. It needs to include some out of conference stuff or something. It doesn't make any sense that if Miami doesn't get in, but this 7-5 Duke team gets in. It's embarrassing for the conference, quite honestly. So yeah, somewhat meaningless to us, but to the states, North Carolina, South Carolina, I believe. No, I think it's North Carolina, right? I don't know.
North Carolina for Duke.
Yeah. So they won their state championship because they beat the other 3 teams, I believe, in the state of North Carolina. This is the first time they've done this back-to-back years. They did it last year. Twice in a row. It's the first time they've done this since 1961 and 1962. So good on you, Duke. You won the games that mattered. You would have thought some of those games would have mattered that you lost, but they didn't apparently. Congratulations, Blue Devils. You are the epitome of the most inconsistent team I've ever seen in my life.
In the most inconsistent conference.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude. On the other side of the ACC championship, we have Virginia. He throttled Virginia Tech. It was not even a game. They were far and away the better team. But at the same time, thank the committee that NC State game didn't count, right? With all these weird tiebreakers.
Yeah.
Imagine if that NC State game mattered. That might have screwed up some stuff. And then, dude,
I forgot about that. What bogus crap is going on in this ACC?
There needs to be some revisions with this, dude. They were like, I don't want to play another Power 4 conference, so we're just going to play each other. And it doesn't count.
Like, there's so many teams in the country. Why are you playing an out-of-conference game that's in your conference?
This was week 1, and I was like, I don't get it. Maybe someone will explain it to me. And the announcer tried their best, but it wasn't really an explanation. They're like, yeah, they just agreed to it. I was like, you can just do that? Can I do that? Can we get LSU to do that with some of their conference games?
And who would have guessed that game would have meant so much during the season, or could have?
It did
Crazy.
too. That game ended. It would have gone to overtime, and Virginia threw a pick right in the end zone that would have tied the game. It was that was one of the best games of the year, to be honest. It was a really fun game to watch, but didn't matter. Just like most of Duke's games for some reason. I hate the ACC. Anyway. All right. The G5 possibly could get 2 bids here because of what's going on with the ACC. James Madison. I think they should get the bid, but they started out really slow against this Coastal Carolina team, and then I blinked, and they were winning by 4. And Coastal Carolina fired their coach. I think you pointed out.
Yeah. Can we talk about how crazy it is? A 6-6 Coastal Carolina team was like, yeah, that's not good enough. And they fired their head coach. What are we doing?
They're like, we're going to try to pull Kalani Sitake from BYU. We're going to start trying to pull these.
This is a team that gives out free refreshments. A team that their halftime show is a Civil War reenactment. And 6-6 is not good enough for their head coach.
Hey, they know how to entertain their fans. I'll tell you what, they do.
You know what? I applaud them for all that. It's crazy to me that that's their standard, but whatever. But yeah, James Madison, man, part of me, I just talked about how we should be rooting against these guys. Part of me would be excited to see James Madison and North Texas make it. I think that would be cool.
I do really want to see James Madison's defense against a real team. Because I know they played Louisville, and they played really well against Louisville. It was their offense that screwed them. Their offense looks a lot better now. I would really like to see them against one of these teams. One of these teams that's been struggling. This JMU team could be a Boise State. They could play like an Oklahoma and upset them. They totally could. They have the potential. I think it would be a disservice to take them out of this playoffs. So that's why I do kind of want to see Duke somehow pull that game out, because then you definitely guarantee James Madison gets in, and then whoever's going to get that bid from the American, which is probably going to be the 12 bid, unfortunately. But I do like Tulane, and North Texas is a really fun watch as well. So there's nothing against those teams. I would like to see them in too, but James Madison, I just feel like they deserve it, dude. I know they haven't played a great schedule. The Sun Belt's not that strong, but they played close in the one game they lost to a Power 4 conference, and then they've dominated the rest of their conference. So give them a chance.
Yeah, it would be fun to see James Madison in there for sure. And I think out of all 3 teams, they'd be the most competitive.
Yeah.
Just because they've got that strong defense, and we don't know what their offense is. Hopefully it's better, but there is a chance that they get in the playoffs and their offense is just dog pee, just terrible. There is a chance of that.
Yep, there is, but I'd like to see it. On the other side of things, just real quick, this is not like this is a playoff team anymore, but USF decided to take out their frustrations on Rice. Their frustrations from choking against Memphis and Navy.
I mean, their record doesn't show it, and so obviously I can't say that they're the best G5 team, but I feel like, man, they had the most potential.
They really did, and those are 2 3-point losses to Navy and Memphis. I think they were both on the road too. but you got to win those. Memphis has now lost a couple games to end the season too. So I think they're
4-4
in conference. So Memphis wasn't even the strongest team in that conference. I know they had a tough schedule. They had to play like everybody that's good in that conference, but you got to get it done, man. That penalty in that Memphis game, that holding call that pushed them out of field goal range, dude, that's their season right there. And that you couldn't bottle up Navy. Come on.
Well, when you lose to Navy, that was what did it for me.
Yeah, for sure. But it's disappointing. You take out your frustrations on poor little Rice, 52-3. You couldn't replicate that against Navy or Memphis or someone. Come on, guys. Tulane, on the other hand, they punched their bid into the American. They're going to play North Texas, likely for that 12 seed. I still think it should be James Madison. That's just me, but the American is a stronger conference, so I definitely understand if they do pick one of those teams. But Tulane is a good team. We'll see what Tulane we get. Unfortunately, with Jake Retzlaff in that offense, you never know. And then North Texas, they're really fun to watch. They've been blowing away teams. The only team that's made them stutter was USF, and they got blown out by USF. So that's my concern with them, obviously. But this should be a good game for the American Cup.
Yeah, I'm excited about it. Can I throw out a stupid G5 stat really quick, or a G5 comment?
Absolutely.
It's actually the AP poll. This week, I don't know if you saw this, Chase, or not. I don't know if this has ever happened or not, but I can't take the AP poll, and maybe I can't take the playoff poll anymore. Did you know that UConn, one voter voted UConn the 23rd and 24th ranked team this last week?
Oh, God, who was it?
I can't remember who it was. I'd have to look and do the research, but yeah, somebody ranked Connecticut at 23 and UConn at 24. How do you do that?
Are you using AI to make your votes? Like, what?
It's not even like UConn was 18 and then we accidentally voted them 24 again. They were back to back, 23 and 24. Connecticut, UConn.
Do you not?
What are we doing?
It's been a while since I've been in school, but were you not instilled by your math teacher or whatever teacher to double check, triple check your work? Do you not have that anxiety to be like, did I put two teams in the same spot? Like, I've made the fan list myself. It's not that hard to see, especially when they're ranked right in front of each other.
Yeah, right? What a complete joke.
To be fair, that's probably what the committee's going to do with Notre Dame, if we talked about that earlier. Who gets the bid, Bama or BYU? Notre Dame gets both.
Yeah, right? Exactly. So anyway, I put that in there just because you never know what they're going to do with these G5 teams. Apparently, they don't pay any attention to them. They rank them twice. They don't rank them. Who knows? But I'd like to see, James Madison. Two of them would be fun, I'd admit, but I think James Madison maybe has the best shot because if North Texas gets in there, I think someone bottles their offense.
Yeah.
They figure them out. And if they don't have their offense, it's game over. And Tulane, we've already seen Tulane against a playoff team. They played Ole Miss earlier this year.
Yep.
Didn't look that impressive. Jake Retzlaff, again, you'll get the Jake Retzlaff experience. So, I don't know. We'll see. But I thought you'd get a kick out of that UConn.
Jeez, that's
I don't think they made the AP top 25 either after that. In fact, they had 3 receiving votes. It was probably all from that one AP voter.
We need to check some of these people, man. They need to take a piss test or something, man. There's something going on there. That's weird.
What the heck,
they gotta
man?
check their computers or something. There's something buggy going on there. But anyway, that is our recap for the Concussion Protocol Podcast this week. We'll see you in a few minutes for the preview.